Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Golden Bachelorette Mark Anderson shares advice from Kelsey. Mark Anderson is the father of Kelsey Anderson, the winner of Bachelor Season 28. He made a memorable impression when he appeared on Kelsey's hometown date. Mark is a 57-year-old United States Army veteran from Louisiana. He and Kelsey's mother met in the military, where they were both military police officers. Mark recently followed in his daughter's footsteps by appearing on the reality dating show The Golden Bachelorette. He was introduced to the show's star, Joan Vassos, by Kelsey herself. Mark's journey on the show has been highly anticipated, with a preview suggesting he will go far. What advice did Kelsey have for her dad? How he felt about overnight fame from Bachelor appearance. Mark Anderson's appearance on The Bachelor was brief, but the impact was immediate. Bachelor Nation fans took to social media to gush over what a great father he was to Kelsey. There were many cries for him to be the next Golden Bachelor. But instead, the Army vet joined the first season of The Golden Bachelorette as one of Joan Vassos' suitors. He recently spoke to The Wrap about his experience on the popular reality TV show. Mark Anderson admitted that he was taken aback by the initial reaction. However, he got over the embarrassment and put himself out there again. Why he decided to join Golden Bachelorette. Mark Anderson's wife passed away in 2018. Kelsey opened up to Joey Grazietti about the loss on season 28 of The Bachelor. She encouraged her dad to apply for Golden Bachelorette. The more I thought about it, I was like, why not? Mark told The Wrap. I've told my kids their entire life to do stuff and don't shy away from things. Take that opportunity and go do it. So, it wouldn't really be right for me not to. But his first meeting with Joan Vassos didn't go as planned. He explained, I had a great spiel that I wanted to say. I knew of her, I saw pictures of her, I saw a video of her. But I stood in front of her, my mind went blank, and it was awestruck. Mark Anderson shares advice from Kelsey. He revealed that his daughter had some sound advice for him before the show. And it was the same advice he gave her before she joined The Bachelor. Mark Anderson, the charismatic and thoughtful bachelor who captured hearts on The Golden Bachelorette, stood on the balcony of his Malibu home, the soft twilight framing him against the orange and pink horizon. Despite the dazzling sunset, Mark wasn't thinking about the beauty of the moment. He was contemplating the advice from Kelsey, the woman who had stolen his heart during the show's most pivotal moments. Though the cameras had long stopped rolling and the drama had subsided, the impact of Kelsey's words remained with him, shaping his decisions, perspective, and life. Mark was a late bloomer in the realm of love. He had been married once, briefly, in his 20s, but his pursuit of a successful career in business had taken precedence over settling down. Fast forward a few decades and he found himself financially stable but emotionally hollow, longing for the connection he had sacrificed years ago. The Golden Bachelorette offered a second chance at love in a time of life where most people were seeking stability, not romance. But Mark wasn't like most people. Meeting Kelsey had changed everything. She was a woman of timeless grace, elegant, with silver strands woven through her long dark hair, a smile that could stop time, and a wit sharper than any sword. When she spoke, it was as though she peeled back the layers of life itself, revealing the wisdom only time can grant. Kelsey had navigated the complexities of love and loss, and her advice wasn't just about romance. It was about life itself. One of the most memorable moments on the show was when Mark and Kelsey had escaped from the cameras for a quiet walk by the beach. The waves lapped at the shore, the air was filled with the smell of salt and sand, and the two walked side by side, hands occasionally brushing, feeling the weight of their years and experiences connecting them in unspoken ways. I think love is misunderstood. Kelsey had said, her voice soft yet full of certainty. People think it's about butterflies, about excitement and passion, and it can be for a while. But love, true love, is about understanding. It's about patience. It's about seeing someone for all of who they are, the good and the bad, and saying, I still choose you, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Mark had listened, captivated, feeling the truth of her words settle into his soul. For years, he had pursued relationships with women who excited him, who brought energy and passion into his life, but they got all fizzled out eventually. The spark would die, and so would the connection. He had begun to wonder if real love was even possible for him, if maybe he was destined to walk alone. But Kelsey made him believe that love wasn't about the fireworks. It was about the quiet moments, the choices made when no one was watching. Another piece of advice that stuck with him was when Kelsey spoke about vulnerability. The two of them had been sitting under a cabana, a light breeze swaying the fabric, their conversation deepening as the night wore on. Mark had shared his fears of not being enough, fears of getting hurt again, fears of opening his heart only to have it shattered. Mark, Kelsey had said, her eyes locking with his, you can't protect yourself from pain and live fully at the same time. It's one or the other. Love is scary because it requires you to open yourself up, to let someone in. You can't half love someone and you can't half lie either. You'd have to choose to be all in or not at all. It was a moment of clarity for Mark, who had always been the type to keep his emotions guarded. He had spent years building walls around his heart, protecting himself from the potential hurt of rejection or loss. But Kelsey's words had pierced through those walls, leaving him exposed and vulnerable in a way that was terrifying yet liberating. Mark reflected on how Kelsey's advice had shaped his life post-show. After the finale aired, and the world moved on to the next big reality sensation, he had taken time to truly absorb the lessons he had learned from Kelsey. They had stayed in touch, and though the romantic spark that had brought them together on the show had cooled into a deep and lasting friendship, her advice continued to guide him. One of the biggest changes in Mark's life was how he approached relationships, not just with women, but with everyone around him. He became more patient, more present, more willing to see the world from another person's perspective. He started prioritizing meaningful conversations over surface-level pleasantries. He began listening with the intent to understand, not just to respond. But perhaps the most important advice Kelsey had ever given him was about self-love. This was a revelation for Mark, who had spent much of his life searching for someone to complete him, someone to make him feel whole. He realized that he had been approaching love from a place of lack, believing that another person could fix the things that were broken inside of him. But Kelsey had taught him that true love comes from a place of wholeness, of two complete people choosing to walk life's path together, not to lean on each other but to uplift each other. Now, months after the show had ended, Mark found himself in a different space. He was dating again, but this time with a new mindset. He was no longer searching for someone to complete him, but rather for someone to complement the life he had built for himself. He was open to love, but no longer desperate for it, and he was happier than he had ever been. As Mark stood on the balcony that evening watching the sun dip below the horizon, he smiled. The future was uncertain, but for the first time in a long time, he wasn't afraid of what it might hold. He knew that whatever came his way, he was ready. Thanks to Kelsey's advice, he had learned that the key to a fulfilling life wasn't found in the arms of another person. It was found within himself. And as for love, well, that would come when the time was right. And when it did, Mark would be ready, not as a man searching for completion, but as a man who had already found it within. This narrative highlights the emotional depth and wisdom of mature relationships, especially the insights gained from experiences like those of the Golden Bachelorette. Would you like to explore more of Mark and Kelsey's story?